Okay, so I just got done watching Al Hazard on Twitch, who's she just rated another security streamer. But while I was watching him, he shared some malware that had been written in Nim, and he made a very sort of on the side comment about it. That he said that the malware was great. It was really tiny. That it had been written in Nim, and that the binaries were much smaller even than Go. And this is a guy who likes Go for security hacking as well. And Go, experiences, according to Bloomberg, like a 4,000% increase in malware for lots of reasons that are basic. And Go is, of course, the native for cloud native language. There's hackers are never going to write Rust. It takes way too long to write Rust. They want something they can write that's powerful, that's composable, that has very very tiny binaries, and that is very very expressive. So they can write their malware quickly and get what they want done and that stuff. So the fact that this malware, and I don't remember the malware that he was talking about, the rootkit that he was talking about, because I'm not that deep into security. I do security, but just not that deeply. And he mentioned it. He mentioned it had been written entirely in Nim. And then I went to look at the Nim syntax, and I mean, I there's another streamer who has been streaming Nim stuff for some time, back a couple years ago, and I cannot remember who it was. It's driving me crazy. If anybody remembers the name of the streamer who was doing Nim stuff, there was only like 10 people in there. And like, have you seen Nim? And they were telling me about it. And I was, kind of between Go and Rust at the time. And I was, all enterprisey, and I still am, but right tool for the job, right? So I think the right tool for so I'm a huge Bash fan, right? I like to write code really quickly, particularly when you're hacking something and you need a piece of code quickly. And that's why Perl is still a favorite with hackers even today, because it's very expressive and dense. And enterprise people don't like dense because it's not sustainable and lots of other reasons. But a denser language, a highly contextual language, is a language that allows you to write very quickly. It allows you to generate code very very quickly. And in the hacker realm, where you're creating tools on the fly to take advantage of exploits you just found, it seems like really ideally suited for that. Of course, Metasploit was written mostly in Ruby. And so the use of Nim for malware and for hacking and for writing really quick and dirty binaries that are not going to be, long-term supported kind of thing, kind of intrigues me. I mean, look at the syntax of the language, for example. It's, it is a Python-esque language in that it does have, indentation. So that's it. It does have Python indentation. A lot of people don't like that. But when you're writing code quickly and you're not writing massive code bases, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're writing code quickly and you're not writing massive code bases, maybe that's okay. Maybe that's okay. Particularly since a lot of the hackers have been writing Python. I mean, a lot of the kits and stuff are still written in Python these days, particularly for management and stuff like that. The difference between this and Python is it compiles. So one of the things I'm initially intrigued about here is to see if we can actually get what the sizes of Hello World are and things like that, and stuff. Don't ban you this time. I never banned you. I timed you out because it was on a YouTube stream, and your name is in America, can be misinterpreted. That's this person's real name, by the way. Okay, so there is a book actually on it. There's a lot of people experimenting with Nim. So I have to admit that one of the cons is that it is a white space. It is a significant white space language, like JavaScript. I'm not JavaScript. Like Python and such. And that does kind of rub me the wrong way. It makes it pretty to read until you have to use lots of stuff and copy and paste and get the indentation right. Have you used Ada? No, I've seen a little bit of Ada. Yeah. So, it's used in embedded stuff. Ada, yeah. Where safety is paramount. Yeah. So, namaste. Yeah, it's that name is an Indian name, East Indian. So efficient. Nim generates native dependency free stuff. Uh, YAML's white space, I know. And so if you can accept YAML, and God knows we have to at this point, uh, you know, can we just agree never to write CoffeeScript again? Expressive nim is self-contained. One of the weirdest things about nim that I remember is that the identifiers can be any one. You can put dashes in there. You can do mixed case, or you can put underscores. Underscores and dashes are completely ignored in the identifiers. So if you want to use mixed case, great. In fact, you can even use, if I remember right, you can use the same identifier with dashes and then another one with mixed case and another one with underscores, and they all refer to the same thing. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, I don't know about that, because that's going to slow the compiler down and stuff. But it wants to be really expressive, and that's Perl's thing too. Perl's a very expressive language, and that's why people hate it, because you can do things in, there's more than one way to do things. Python's like there's one best way. Perl's like, no, there's lots of artistic ways to implement things. You should be able to do it anytime, any way you feel like. And so expressive it can be a bad thing, right? So a little flexible naming conventions, perhaps a bit more expressive than people need. So Perl is so expressive. Perl is great if you know how to use bind, for example, or anyway. So yeah, we're gonna look up the data structures in here and try some things. You can work with assembly apparently. You can use NIM's macro system to transform a dense data-centric description of x86 instructions into lookup tables that are used by assemblers and JITs. So the one thing that this does seem to me, that it seems like NIM seems to cater to low-level programmers. While being high-level. So, and that is literally, hey, how's it going? That is like literally the sweet spot for hackers, like the absolute perfect sweet spot. Dealing with assembly, which I've never learned. I mean, I know it generally, but if it's actually made it easy to do things, and in assembly and avoid the syntax of C or even Rust, that might be a thing. And it's designed to write quickly, which Rust clearly is not. Statements are grouped by indentation but can span multiple lines. Statements are grouped by indentation, but can span multiple lines. I don't know what that means. I don't know. We're going to try it. Learn more. Buy now for $39. Nope. Is there a free way to look at it? Learn more about NIM. Bored as a teen? Yeah, I mean, I know the basics of it, but I've never actually. I have so much stuff to learn it with. We used to teach it. People used to learn it in the school, but I never personally learned it. I mean, a little, like move registries and stuff, but if else string comparisons, basic. Let's see. So how do I learn it? Let's see how well NIMlang documentation. So that's what I'm on right now. Learn NIM in 5 minutes. Okay, let's do that. I'm gonna zoom in so you can see it. It's kind of small. So we're already dark mode. So learn Xify. Where X equals NIM. Get the code. Learn NIM.nim. Formerly Nimrod. Is there? First of all, is there a Vim? Is there a Vim plugin for this? So like if we do hello.nim. You know what I mean? Formerly Nimrod. is a statically typed. It was called Nimrod before. I think they should call it Nim for nimble, because it's nimble. So it's a statically typed language. It's really, really nimble. The most nimble, probably. Imperative programming language that gives the programming power to without compromises on runtime efficiency. Nim is efficient, expressive, and elegant. Start with it's kind of like shell scripting if you had white space indentation. This is a multi-line comment. That is weird. Okay, we nested beginning with blah. Okay, let's do. That's weird. I like weird. It doesn't look like I have nim syntax highlighting, so I gotta add that because I just have to. Because I'm me. This multi-line comment, and nim multi-line comments begin with blah and end with blah. Shabracket. Is that what we want to call it? Shabrak. You need a shabrak. A shabrak instead of shebang. You need a shabrak. I just invented that. What do you think? Best shabrak. Best. So let's say, what is it? The best Vim nim plug. The best Vim plugins are pretty workflow. No. Nim language Vim plugin. I am going to add it because I want my Vim syntax. Nim language program. So za nim is apparently it. Nim.vim. Za nim.vim. How come there's two of them? Which one is better? Anybody have a preference? No, we're not fucking using space Vim. We're going to do za nim or Schneider Philipp. Schneider Philipp. I don't know. Za nim.vim. I don't know. I know what. Let's call them both and see. Za Philipp Schneider. Yeah. Is he good? Which one is the good one? Which one should I get? What's your vote? All right. Well, let's look at this one. I know it's a small thing, but this provides Sim's language for, well, he knows how to do, whoever this is knows how to do Markdown, which is a great thing. You know how hard it is to find people who actually know how to do Markdown? Syntax highlighting, auto indent, build jump errors, project navigation. Source code description that comes from Vim scripts. Modified Python.vim. Vim is source to plugin manager such as pathogen. No, we don't need any of that shit. We're just going to use plug. tpups pathogen. Nope, don't have to do that. Don't have to do any of that. Nope, old school. I already know how to do that. Okay, that's fine. Which one's better? Who is Philipp Schneider? Is that somebody we should care about? I'm trying to get my head on the culture too. The form of Markdown, not flavors. Yeah, just learn to get a flavor Markdown. I agree. I agree with you. Schneider Philipp. I don't think I got that right. All right. All right, fine. Copy and paste. Forked from Zavim. Oh. So he obviously wanted something different. This provides Vim language support for syntax highlighting. Oh, what did you do differently? I mean, if it's forked from the other one, I'm just going to use the other one. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the answer is easy. Za nim.vim. Vi the vimrc plug za nim.vim za nim.vim. Now we're gonna do dep plug update nim.vim resolve deltas. Got it. My pagan syntax is still broken. I should probably comment that one out. Let me fix that real quick. Yeah. Yes, that one needs to. Okay. Wait. Plug update. Go get my plug. Colon into whatever. Why did I do that? Or have it now. Plug update. There we go. All right, so now we got our plug Vim, and we can go back. I mean, we installed nim. Ooh, nim. What? I installed it. Wait, what? Choose nim installed in nimble.bin. I don't want a nimble.bin. Why does it have to be a Nimble? You know what? They renamed it Nimble. It was Nimrod before that. They named it Nimble. See? Did I install the right thing? No, I did. nim gdb, nim grep nim. Where did it put them? It put them in nimble.bin? Yeah, I don't like that. I mean, package manager penalty. Nimble is the package manager. Oh, that makes sense. So there's nim and then there's nimble. It's kind of like, I kind of like it so far. I liked it before. It was a little weird. Uh-oh. Error detected. File auto commands function, blah, blah, blah. nim compiler must be in your system's path. I haven't done that yet. Okay, give me a second. Yeah, apparently. Thank you, hey, welcome. Welcome, by the way. So let's do that. Let's do... I'll comply. I will comply. I protest, but I will comply. Yeah. It's going to make me put it in the path, but whatever. Where's my path? All right, so path prepend. Home local bin. Home nimble. Why don't they follow the standard open desktop conventions and put it into that local bin? That would have been a lot better. I think. Yeah. Yeah, maybe I can open a ticket with them on that, because that I mean, they're not going to be able to change it, but if they, is separate from OS installing, that's why. Okay, but they still could have used the convention, right? I mean, there's no reason not to. Yay! Now it's the right color, and all things are happy. Your package manager will what? Nimble? Right. But I mean, they had an option. I mean, they had an option there. Whoever, they had an option. I know, and it's in my path. I've already got it. It's not the issue. In fact, I'm gonna open a ticket. So there. Yeah, and they can shoot it down and say you suck, but I'm gonna ask a question, people. I'm gonna ask a question, and hopefully they won't yell at me but this is actually kind of a part of this. I want to see how welcoming they are to beginner suggestions. And if an absolute beginner says, you're violating the Open Desktop Foundation's policies for where you install stuff, would you mind changing the default, allowing people to pick during choose them, and ask, say, I don't even think they let me choose it. The difference that would have been, So anyway, nim. I imagine it's nim, but I don't know. We're gonna go look. I want to know where nim is on GitHub. Doesn't add it to your pass to respect faction. Well, yeah, for sure. Yeah, nimlang /nim. No torches and pitchforks, heavily. Yeah, I figured they would be, but okay. So I am going to account very briefly my experience with the Node community to contrast this. I made a couple suggestions to Sydney Sorheights, whatever his name is, the guy who does all that Node stuff, right? And it was, not only were they overwhelmingly arrogant and unwilling to accommodate my requests, but they were caustic and attacking in their responses. And I wasn't even, you know me, yes, I can be provocative, but I wasn't being provocative. And it completely turned me off from Node. Even though I'm a huge fan of TJ, and TJ eventually left the Node community too and went to Go. The Go community is not particularly welcoming either. The Rust community is relatively welcoming, just like any cult, until you say that you don't want to join their cult, and then they put the devil horns on and they want to kill you. It's a joke. It's a joke. Okay, so these things actually matter to me. So I know we're just learning to program the language, but Node does have weird paths. Oh my God, it's so weird. I'm just going to open I'm just going to open a little bit of an issue. So I have Haskell. I know Haskell's pretty good too. Yeah, and Haskell compiles the binaries also, right? You just can't write it quickly. This is the reason. Okay, the only reason I'm doing this instead of playing Dota is because, well, Lisp, right? Is because the idea of having a super tiny binary that can be written as fast and easily as Python, that has all of the advantages of Rust without the Rust, is super compelling to me, particularly for writing malware. And I know we're not supposed to write malware with it, but it so far it seems like it's hitting that like total sweet spot combination of, you know, Bash, Python, and Go without the Go, right? Go and Rust without that, Rust without the Rust, Go without the Go. And it's like, it feels like it's like right in that center spot, like really well thought out. Not to mention it has support for like low level binaries, and it's not Turing complete, but you know, they use NIM, they write the tools in NIM to generate NIM, right? Now we probably want to look at the pedigree on that. Does anybody know if the pedigree has been documented for the compiler so we can make sure? Rust without the oxide and Go without the gopher. Yeah. Yeah. That is actually something that does concern me. Is the compiler source available so we can compile our own using C? Do you know what I'm talking about? This is really important. The compiler pedigree is super important if you want to ensure that the language doesn't have backdoors. So it's pretty easy to hide a backdoor in a language itself in the compiler if you don't have the original. Go has this. Rust doesn't have it, by the way. Nope. Rust has lost any ability to show you the pedigree. It's a language. So I don't want to get into it, but like if you go back far enough, in a language, right? It's like, so yeah, the compiler that compiles NIM is written in NIM and you can get the source code, right? But how can you prove it? You have to compile the source code with NIM. And you have to use a binary to compile that source code. Well, how do you know that binary is the real thing? And so Go has a very, very delineated history back to when the very first written was compiled with C. So if you wanted to, you can recreate the steps to get to the current compiler. So you see what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if the compiler is in there if you have to use NIM as the compiler to compile the compiler. Does that make sense? In fact, even C is subject to this. First written in Go. Yeah. See, the thing about Go, let me just recap this. If you're concerned about language security, and even C, I mean, you have to go back. What did you compile your original C version in? Did you use it with GCC? So GCC has got like a crazy, crazy, well-detailed pedigree of when it was first built. Because you have to go back so far so you can make sure that there wasn't any backdoors or anything put in there so that you get to the point that you're doing. Otherwise, you're just trusting the binary. Hey, Ascertainment, if you just trust the binary, and everybody does, but if you just trust the compiler and say, oh yeah, it's all trustworthy, there's really no way to do that. And people that are like wildly security conscious will go back. They will go back all the way and they'll trace the steps to get to the current compiler rather than trust the current compiler. Or they'll do, really low-level forensics analysis like that, which you can still get around. So NIM is a new language, and it's popular with hackers. So, it does beg the question. Rust can't do it. Rust has lost its ability to do this. This is really sad for the language. Rust cannot do it. I hope I'm wrong on that. If somebody knows if I'm wrong on this, but where did I read the article? I read a whole article that said that Rust has lost its ability to trace its pedigree back to C. So you just have to trust the Rust people that they wrote the compiler right, because they're using a compiler to make a new compiler, and then they're using that compiler to make a new compiler, and you have no idea if it's not statically linking in stuff that it shouldn't be. You have no idea. There's no way to prove it. I mean, I guess you could go analyze the entire code at the binary level, but no one's going to do that. So anyway, I mean, it's a simple thing. It's not the big thing. I'm gonna go look for the issue here. 2.1K issues. Wow. Let's go search for free desktop. Let's actually make a new issue. When it comes to the internals of languages, they are, and they did a lot of good stuff with that, right? Create a new feature. It's kind of a feature. I think twice. Think about a title twice. Let's see. Let's say X. This is my first bit of if I'm gonna go through this, right? It's just a polite feature request. I don't want to be on my high horse here. I'm not. Consider okay. Please provide a minimal source code example. I think that's it. I really don't have to add anything else besides that. That is it. Your first time opening issue in the project requires availability. Description, alternative, standard output formats. Wow, they got a template and everything. With choose nim? Okay, thank you, Socom. Oh God. The kids are out playing outside. The window's open. They're so cute. A new passion project? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know. Hey Jalopy, I'm coding and listening to kids. It fills with our required. Oh shit. Donate. Describe. Installed under. Do. Perhaps yeah. What do you think? You think it's good enough? Yeah. I made a contribution to the NIM project. A feature request. It counts as a contribution. It does, even if no one ever looks at it. So anyway, back to what we were doing, huh? All right, so learn it in N minutes. Tanifa, how are ya? 30 months? What the hell? What the hell? It is such a great Sunday today. I've had a great day today. I had a nice. Oh, who scared me? Indeed, Nim, formerly known Nimrod, is a statically typed. I love the name Nimrod. I just say, I love the name. I really love it. I do. I love it. It's statically typed imperative programming language that gives the programmer power without compromise on runtime efficiency. NIM is efficient, expressive, and elegant. So we did comments. We made our first comment. Yeah. My first code is just a comment. Hey, look, there's no shebang line. What the hell? It's kind of weird, but that's awesome. It'll be 40 months and then followed by. Is that how it works? NIM is efficient, expressive, elegant. Discard. Ooh, look at this. This can also work as a multi-line comment or for unparsable broken code. That looks straight out of Python. There is only shebang if you write NIM script, a not-compiled version of the language. There is a thing called NIM script too? Damn. Do people use NIM script? Because I'm intrigued by this. What? Has NIM script for scripting, has NIM scripting support. I can get behind getting into a scripting language that can also compile to like teeny tiny binaries, but you could just have a bunch of scripts around. You can do that with Go, but Go is much harder to write. It's not as expressive. I mean, just if equals, Yeah, look, we already know that I'm going to be replacing shell scripts with Bonsai with my Bonsai branch, right? But Bonsai is fatter and has different problems, and I still want to do that. One of the things about NIM that I'm super interested in figuring out is if I can figure out how to do composites like I've done with Bonsai. I'm just considering a whole bunch of things here. It's the first time I've ever used it, so I'm just got my mind wide open. Not as completely because some features are missing from the VM backend of NIMscript. Missing from the VM backend of NIMscript. Oh, okay. With limited features. Okay, so but you're telling me it doesn't have a VM. Somebody said it. I just read somewhere it doesn't have a VM. No low level virtual machine like LLVM. It does not depend on LLVM, right? Like Julia or Jupyter or Crystal. So anyway, let's keep looking at it. Doesn't matter as on a stage. And Python is currently better. Yeah. A standard language doesn't. Only NIMscript and JS backend. Huh. So this is a Python comment right there. Good old var. So var letter lang. Oh, so that's a concatenate operator. This is an assignment. This is very Lua-esque. Is it not? Oh, that's the type. No, this is the type. So the type comes right before the assignment. Interesting. So letter. So this is the identifier. It has a little bit of a Lua thing. Pascal and Lua, yeah. Var mutable, let immutable runtime. Var is mutable, let immutable. Let is not mutable. Var is immutable. Var is mutable. Const immutable at compile time. Let immutable at runtime. What? Oh, this is cool. Okay, so letter. Is that Python 2? I guess it is. Python doesn't let you do this. Did the latest Python, did they change? Did they in the latest? I haven't done Python 3.6 plus. Did they finally? They add typing, right? But I thought they were annotations, aren't they? I have to go look at the Python annotations to see. I don't remember. So we have letter char equals lang equals n and m. So that's a concatenate operator. It's usually plus in all the other languages. The type hinting stuff, yeah, that Guido added because he was like jealous of TypeScript. He said so. N length int equals len. So it equals his assignment, which is good. I see. So the colon, does the colon have to be right after it? Here, we're going to try this. I don't think it has to be, but it looks like that's the standard way to do it. So let's do that. Let's say var. So name. I guess name's a string, right? No. All right. Let's do like age. Age int equals 34 or something. For one variable. Yeah, just for two. All right. So if we have age, what do we got here? We have age. Can you read the current variable in them? We don't know yet. We haven't got that far. Someone else here probably knows. Yeah. Nim hello nim. Hint, use config file, toolchain, blah blah blah. Invalid command. How about this? I'm just guessing. That's always a bad idea. Run the compile program with given arguments. Okay, how about that? Nim-r. Hello. There's no num, there's only nim. How about this? I'm just guessing. That's stupid. Nim-c-r the file. Nim-c-r the file. Oh, a compilation didn't take too long. Oh, okay, it worked. This is the back end you're using, really? Oh, that's right. I remember reading that. It converts it to C code and then compiles the C code. Right? Yeah, I forgot all about that. Nim is just a transpiler. It transpiles it into C or Java. That's how come it can get away with JavaScript, right? I remember reading that. I totally forgot about that. So it just copies it over. Somehow it changes it over into C and compiles to C. And it only generate the C without binaries. Really? So you could use it to like write C really quickly and then go in and tweak the C. Holy shit. See, that is way better than Rust. Sorry, Rust people. Because I would rather write C code reliably, safely, and quickly, and then go in and tweak my C code than to wait around for the type checker and borrow and all that crap that you have to do with Rust. Take the C on the inline ASM. Exactly. Oh my God. The hackers got to love this, man. Hackers got to be freaking insanely happy with this, because they can continue to stay C coders. They can consider to consider themselves primarily C coders, and then they can just use Nim as an easier way to write C in the generated code, but the language has features to do it. Yeah. Yeah, but then, I mean, the point being is that they wanted to write a bunch of C, and they could integrate it very easily with the Nim output. So let's say they had a huge code base that was already written in C. Oh, I don't know, like malware that already existed. And I mean, this is why everybody loves Go in the malware world, because they want to recompile stuff, in Go and change the signatures. And so, I mean, that makes it like a really, really ideal. In a certain sense, it's like writing C code with Python, and then having a bunch of C code as a result. This is super cool. I mean, because it's compiling with C, it's going to have the same time delays and stuff for compilation with C, but that's way faster than Rust. Rust compilation's abysmally bad on purpose. So yeah, I'm super intrigued by this. Because I mean, this is probably just an ELF binary. Yep. Type file hello. It's a LSVPy executable. Dynamically linked interpreter. SLH low. Wait, it's only 108K to make compile take ages. Yes, but easier to find this way. Is it in Nimcache? Where's Nimcache live? Nimble bin. Nimgrep. That's interesting. Packages. Nimcache. nim, is it in here? Is it like bytecode? Where's the nim cache? Yeah. Well, that's good to know. That's really good. I'm super. I'm kind of getting on board with this language so far. I mean, because we know that Go's got problems because of the garbage collection and it's too big. But it's it's not meant to be lightweight. It's not good for rootkits. It's good for rootkits if you got a lot of space. To give you a chance to stretch your legs. The output. It's for yourself. Yes. It's okay. You say so. Yeah. All right. So okay. So I mean, the syntax is drop dead simple. I mean, it's so simple. I am already in love with the syntax. I am. I'm like totally in love with the syntax. One of the things I hate the most about Rust, besides other reasons, the single thing I hate the most about Rust is the syntax. It's so bad. The syntax of Rust is so bad. It's just horrible. I mean, that's why Go is simpler than Rust, but this is even simpler than Go. Yeah, and I like it better than Python too. And so and I care about. I mean, this is this. Okay. So this is interesting. Look at this. So underscores are ignored, as are dashes in identifiers. So it's because it's mostly converting over to C, right? Some people complain about Rust syntax on the news too. Did they really? Is there a joke in there somewhere I missed? Anyway, let legs equals 400. Let arms. Okay, use let to declare and bind variables. Oh. Use let to declare and bind variables once. Oh, that's what you meant. Okay, that means you can never do them again. Well, how's that different than constants? Why don't we do constants? I'm trying to decide why you would do that instead of a constant. Constants are computed at compile time. Huh. Declare without type attention. Constants must be known at compile time. Right. Lets are at runtime. What? It has runtime constants? So you can like detect stuff off the system and then make it let, declare it once, and then it's a constant for the rest of the time during the whole thing? Oh my god. That is awesome. That is so awesome. I've never seen that in any language anywhere. I've never seen that. Is so stinking cool. Not a side effect version of proc. And also Funk version. They have Frunk and proc too. So you can have, oh my god. The fact that they even thought about that. They're geniuses. The people who design this language, they're just fucking geniuses. I'm sorry for the swear word there, but I mean, the fact that they even considered the need for that, because I mean, everybody knows you need that, but no languages have it. That is so stinking cool. Iraq is Iraq the one who wrote it, or is he one who is Iraq who wrote it? All right, we're gonna backpage. We're gonna backpedal for a bit. We want to figure out who wrote this language. Yeah. I mean, somebody said that he was, but others said he wasn't. How I start NIM. Write an interpreter for the brain programming language in NIM. NIM by example. At least the guy I know is the frontline. Iraq. I think Iraq was the one who was Twitter streaming. And he's like, don't write malware. We just saw that. And I'm like, I'm going to write malware anyway. So there. Yeah, look, malware, saying that all malware is bad is like an oversimplification. Goram, Crump. Is this stuff on the front face very much? I know what we can do. Yeah. We're gonna wait. I'm gonna find him. GitHub.com/nimlang nim. Real world software with access to Postgres and Res, for example. I don't think you can write real world software. MJ Vortex. The reason that I'm going to not leave Go anytime soon is because the literal mountain of software that's been written for integration with everything has been written, in Go. But for other things, I'm not going to be replacing all my middleware with Nim anytime soon. Just for sustainability reasons, but it doesn't mean I can't write it for fun, right? And a lot of people that use that logic with Rust right now. I, however, do think that Nim would be a better WASM candidate. I am of the opinion right now that Nim would be way better than Rust for WebAssembly. And actually, it's funny because I just was going through the requirements if you wanted to be a front-end web developer, and you really do need to learn Rust and WebAssembly because WebAssembly is becoming the new normal, and Rust has the tiny binaries. But if Nim pulls this off and has smaller binaries than Rust and is faster to write, to C to LLVM to WASM, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. If Nim pulls this off, it's faster to write and can run in WebAssembly with smaller binaries, it might actually knock Rust out. Has a GC? It does. Does it have? Well, it uses C. I mean, if it had garbage collection, I wouldn't mind it if it's lower. If it's smaller. There's an LLVM backend made by the community. The C backend is better for them. Yeah, because there's the thing I keep forgetting. Nim has deliberately taken a design decision to generate code and then compile that code. And that is huge. That's like a TypeScript. It's like a TypeScript sort of thing. Good GC stuff for the kidding. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, we have yet to find out about garbage collection. We don't know anything about that yet. So it has info. Yeah. Le Champagne. League of Legends. Contributors. Arak. Andreas Rumpf from Germany. Travis Butt. That is not it. Core developer of the Nimlang. Author of Nim in Action. I think it was Dominique who was streaming. I'm trying to find the ones that were streaming. Here's about the C++ Nim. Good Friends, Good Books. A Sleepy Conscience. Za. Oh, Za's the one who made the Vim plugin. I think he's the main dev, but we don't know that. I'm trying to figure out who invented it. I don't know. I'm just trying to read the community thing here. Croatia, Germany. It's a lot of Germans, actually. Which I think is great. Yeah. Planety. Machine learning people are into Nim. Yeah. Andrei Kozarak, yes. Rim deprecated and broken them links. I want to say that he was streaming once upon a time. I swear to God, I followed somebody and I spent like an hour or two in their stream with just like 2 or 3 or 4 people, and they were doing Nim stuff. And I really hate that I don't remember. I don't remember who it was. It was definitely one of these guys. Discord IRC channel. I'm gonna put this video on YouTube, and we'll see about move semantics in Nim. Huh. SC compiler and GCC. MinGW distribution. Yeah. Build all bootstrapping and Koch. The guy writing Zig streams. I wonder if it was Zig instead. Did I mix up Zig and Nim? I think that's what happened. I do. I think you're right. Yeah. Yeah. I think it was Zig. I'll know as soon as I look at it. So, front forward on socials. I'm pretty sure it was Zig, and honestly, I totally messed them up. I am pretty sure it was Zig. Yeah. Is Zig the one where the identifiers can be anything? You know what I mean? String literals and Unicode code points, escape sequences, multi-line string literals. Assignment Zig test. Oh, I think no. This isn't it. This is not it. In for me, but it's close. Zig test better personally. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like Zig offhand. It looks like, yeah, Zig is the one that tries to be Rust. Really, I mean, it really tries to be Rust. I don't know. I don't know. We're gonna go see about identifiers. Actually, we should be able to do this right now. Yeah, let me try this. So let's do Hello World, and then I'll test some things here. So if this is the language I'm thinking it is, then I should be able to change the identifiers and put underscores and dashes in them and not have them mess it up. And then that will make my life complete. So length lang, let's const when what compile time if. Wow. This error will never be compiled. Huh. Compile time if. Well, what somebody demonstrated to me that you can put dashes in identifiers and they're ignored. I am trying to do that. Then add it erase me. They are. Is that so? It was Nim then. It was definitely Nim who was the guy who was streaming. I don't know if it was one of the core team guys, but the guy that I saw streaming 2 years ago, I said, "What do you think of Nim?" And I was like, "Oh, what's this?" And yeah, I was super intrigued by it. Yeah, there it is. So if I remember right, it ignores tuples have both in order. Underscores and caps are ignored. Yes. Actually, dashes are too. Can't be caps or not. Yeah. I'm pretty sure dashes are also ignored. It's very Python-like, yeah. Only except for it compiles to C. It transpiles to C and then compiles directly to ELF. So, yeah, type versus type are different things. Oh, really? And type are the same. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. Does it use initial cap for exports from Go? Boy, that would blow my mind. Oh, the standard library and binaries. I agree. I know, me too. As soon as I was just using a password manager. I just wrote a password manager in Go, and every other time I had done anything like this with GPG, I had to been forced to call out to GPG when the entire Open PGP standard library was supported in Go by default. I was immediately sold in 2014 because of all this batteries included stuff. I mean, serious batteries included in Go, and like in this standard-ish library, the X library. Standard is using it for constant set for types. It's just interesting. Okay, my type name goes a name. Let's see. A type alias gives you a new type that is interchangeable. Old type. Okay, very, very cool. John is a person. Oh, so you can make a new type. And I get this tuple assignment. That's cool. I like the syntax a lot, I gotta tell you. Yeah, I do. I like the syntax a lot. Type cache equals distinct int. Var money equals cache. 100.cache. What? Converts the int to our type. That's like. What? That's a cast. That's casting. Yeah, that's how you cast. That is weird. Oh, they both do that? I would probably do the first. I would probably do the first because I'm used to seeing that kind of cast everywhere. What do you mean it converts it? It's a function call? Then I'm misreading it, I guess. I mean, to me, that looks like a method. Hey, how's it going? To me, that looks like a method, no? So description desk equals interesting.desk. No, it's... Cache is the method for constructing cache type. It's a constructor. Yeah. This looks like a cast. Yeah, it's just interesting. It converts it from a string and it adds the type. That's a cast. Creates a cache type just like that. Is this creating... Well, it has to. It has to be because it's creating a value of type desk and then it's assigning it to description. It's even cleaner than Ruby, definitely. Yeah. When compiled bad code, John.age. You're telling me, so there's some sort of implicit function, implicit constructor that this calls? Can you override the constructors for types? And, do something like that, like Ruby? I wonder if you can. I imagine you can. It's not a constructor, it's a syntax for functions. Yeah, but you're just telling me that this is the same as calling desk paren around interesting, is it not? It's exactly the same. It's just a shorthand. So if you wanna put the value first, yeah. I mean, that's interesting. I kind of like that for transformational functions. You know what I mean? It's got kind of a functional feel. This is what you're saying is that here. What variable s type. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, but what I'm hearing people say is that this is the same as desk paren around it, calling the desk constructor for a new type. So this defines the type as a string, and say I want a new string, so you call desk, and then it makes a string as a new instance of it. So it's just kind of like a reverse notation of it. I like it though. I do find this annoying. Java has this too, of course, right? It's just way worse. Where you have to have you have the type assignment and the the declared type as well. When you're doing declaration and assignment, why are we learning Nim for the hell of it? How you doing, Briani? Do you want me to call you Chicken or Briani? Because I noticed Scott calls you Chicken. I know, that's what it reminds me of too. Yeah, it's kind of like the pipe operator in Elixir. It's a little functional, but not really. It does make me wonder if you can chain a bunch of functions and keep passing off the variable to each other. That would be really fucking cool. That would be 100% the pipe operator. You can? Oh my god. You gotta be kidding me. You can do functional pipelines? Oh, we gotta play with that. We gotta play with that for sure. Holy shit. Oh my god, that's so cool. If that's true. This could be my new favorite language that I will never do anything productive in except for write, wannabe malware. Which will get Iraq really mad at me, but whatever. When compiled bytecode. I've missed something. Yeah, well, basically everyone's like, looks very, Haskell's a functional language, right? So you have the thing, and then you have the operators to be run on the things like after that, and then it gets passed down the chain, right? So actually Golang templates do that too, by the way. Pike's templates. He loves those things, by the way. He did an hour-long video on it. Yeah. Yeah. It's not really composition, I don't think. Functional composition, maybe. When compile bad code, John.age equals money. Error ages of type int and money is cash. Okay. Oh, that's cool. Well, you know what I do like about this? You can assign types to primitives. That's cool. I mean, I think you can do that. Well, I know you can do that in Go, but yeah, it's got strict typing, which is nice. I mean, Python doesn't have that. More types and data structures. Enumerations allow a type to have one. I mean, 3.6 plus has annotations, type hints. Enumerations allow a type to have one of the limited. You can't compile Python though. Mossy's going to yell at me, but you can't. I'm sorry. Enumerations allow a type to have into a single distributed binary. There's lots of hacks to do that, but they're horrible. Enumerations allow a type to have one of the limited number of values. Oh god, they got built-in enums, enumerations. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. There's lots of hacks to do that, but yeah. They basically bundle a Python interpreter with every binary. Compile Python is worse than them. Yeah, me too. You can't compile Python. No. No, but when I meant compile, I meant turn. You can do it with Perl, Indigo Perl DXE, but it's the same thing. It puts the Perl interpreter inside the binary, which is not the same at all. Direction, northwest, east, south. Alternative format, okay. Var, orient is of type direction. The value due north. Okie dokie. Have to be more optimistic. Compile the machine code is what we mean. Yeah. Yeah. Discard D north. D is greater than discard. Enums are usually an ordinal type. Ordinal, yeah. 0, 1, 2, 3. Is an ordinal a built-in primitive? Sounds like it is. And it sounds like it is. Subrange is specified limited valid range. Type typeface equal range 1 through 20. Damn, that's like right out of Bash. That's like literally Bash syntax. Everything. Are you kidding me? People hate that about Go, and I love that about Go because you don't leave shit around that somebody's gonna like. Is this used somewhere? I hate that. That is one of the most genius things and courageous things that the designers of Go ever did. They made sure you use everything in your code. It has made code bases much, much simpler and cleaner and safer because you just don't have random shit in there that you forgot about. That is so cool. If that's true, oh, that is like a huge plus. Go has that for sure. It actually pisses people off. Yeah. They'll like import things and they don't use it and like, sorry, you have to take the import line out. So unless you're using an editor that takes stuff in and out all the time and you're commenting code out, you have to, if you comment code out and you like save and you have a good IDE or Vim, it'll update the imports and stuff like that. But if you don't have that, it is a bane of your existence because you have to go in and comment it out, uncomment, comment, uncomment. It's annoying. People don't know that and they come to the language and they hate it. They hate it. It's like, I know that I'm going to come back and change it. Yeah, except for that one time when you did it and then it went to production, right? Like every other piece of C code out there. Yeah, it's a big thing. I just do underscore equals my var if my code isn't done. Yeah, that's C computer. The people don't know that though. They don't know about that, and they don't know about the IDE updates, and so they get mad. The fact that NIM, the people who made it, knew to do that because they didn't want to allow crusty code bases to happen, that speaks volumes for them. And I'm actually going to put that as a huge plus. Let's see. Var, I'm just going to put 3 variable scopes. What is that called? What do we call that? var let and const. I love that. Also love that forces all symbols to be used. I love that. Where are the errors values? I think that's kind of that rusty thing too. JavaScript likes that too. When the error occurs, yeah, yeah, and it does it have? I mean, I almost don't even want to ask. Does it have exceptions? I think it might. I haven't been here for a week. You're already touching a new language. Anger Musanless, how are you? It does. Yeah, that's gonna make a lot of Go people happy. Because there's still a huge segment of Go that thinks that Go should add exceptions, and they will not do it. There's been 3 proposals shot down, and I don't particularly like exceptions, but I've used them in Python. I have such mixed feelings on exceptions because they can be really seriously abused, but when they're used properly, they can really make the code easy to read. So, yeah, yes. And you want to control the flow. I know. That's why I told you I have really mixed feelings about that. I mean, I've seen exceptions abused so many times where people just punt and they don't even know where the exception block is at that point. And they put like 100 lines of code in there that are produce like any one of like 25 different exceptions. And then they have a huge line of like except at the bottom that tries to trap every fucking exception. I hate that. Because then when you're trying to figure out, well, where was the exception thrown, you have to go through the call stack traces and stuff like that to find it. Whereas, if you have that really annoying, if error equals nil stuff and Go, you can, right what line you're on. And you can go there and find it. It's annoying. It means you have to put more white space in your code and, block out those little segments of thing and you'll make them into functions instead and all kinds of stuff. But I like it because it tends to make me write smaller functions and stuff and Go, because it's always easier to write a function that returns an error than to have like lots of if something goes nil. Usually if you have a huge block of code that's just a ton of if this equals nil, you probably should factor that code out into functions. And a lot of those functions will probably get inline because they'll be so small, but I don't always do that. It just depends. Anyway, so when compile bad code, my rule equals 23. Only an int from 1 to 20 is valid. Holy cow. That is remarkable. To allow that level of granularity, that is pretty damn interesting. I have never seen a language allow type definitions with ranges. I've never seen that. Try except finally. Yeah. When it comes to this lib can give you any exception. You don't know which one it's going to be. Yeah. Right. Ada might have ranges. I don't know. I've never seen that as a low level thing. How can it? This is one case where I'd want to see the generated C code. I would want to see the generated C code for this. How can you define a type that has... That just blows my mind. Because, I mean, that means there's got to be type checking built into the compiler. Yeah. Yeah. That is... Is it runtime? I mean, it would have to be runtime. It would have... Because I can... It's got to be runtime validation. I was going to say, is it... Yeah, I know. I would never do that for anything. But how is that different than an if statement that you're going to put inside of a function someplace, Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence on that one. It's a force. I mean, yeah. Well, that means the assignment to that specific type has an implicit constructor that has a range check for any time it's ever set. Yeah. If it's out of range, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, that I don't know if I like that. Well, it's optional, right? You don't have to use it. I think you would need to know that if you're using this, you're like, hey, thanks for the follow. You'd have to know. You'd have to really know. Any time this is assigned, you're going to be implicitly firing off a check. You know what I mean? Implicitly, it would be firing off a check. It would, and that is not a good idea. No, because if you might want access to the low level stuff, and once it's changed, to have the other functions not necessarily deal with it and change the value. Every single time this value is ever changed, it's going to run the range check every single time. That would be exceptionally huge overhead if it's not needed. I can see this getting abused bad. I can see beginners being like, hey, it's just easier to write it like this, and they have this thing that's getting slammed on, and the underlying code for that validation would just be way unnecessary overhead, where they should have done the validation in an accessor when they set it up front somehow, and then let everything else just use the value and trust it. Used in my time in the language though. Yeah, I would say. Yeah, I don't know that I would ever use this. I mean, it's nice if you're writing like quick, dirty code, but I don't think I would ever use it. I want explicit validation, and then I want the freedom to not use the validated number. I mean, I don't want to have to validate every time I access the number or assign to the number, right? Maybe that would be good for like let types and stuff like that. I don't think it's a compile time check though. No, I can't be, because you can. It depends on what we learned about let and var, let, and const, right? So let is one runtime assignment. You need to have an underlying type. That's what I'm saying. So here's the question: what is this type definition? When does type get evaluated? Is that the same as let, or is it the same as... Oh, you know what? I just figured it out. This is just a type definition. Just doesn't assign a value. So then you can still use let something equals something difaces. Here we go. Yeah. And then you can use var, let, or const. Actually, var or let. And if you use var, it will check it every time. If you use let, it will check it on its initial setting, and after that, you can't change it. So you can make a rule in your team, I guess, that says, hey, if you're going to use range validation like this, make sure you use let in your declaration. And that means that they could assign it one time. You got to assign it one time, and then after that, it never got assigned to any after. And it's essentially a constant after that. But it would have done the range checking up front. That's cool. But if you did that as a var, if you did it, I would never do a var like that. I would never do it, because I mean, you got to really hate yourself, because you would be forcing that validation every time. Maybe you want that though. Maybe your program is pulling input from user, and you want that extra validation every time the numbers change, because it's always being pulled from a user. But it would be the only way you would know that is by looking at the type definition instead of looking at some sort of... I mean, that's not horrible. Maybe you want slow code. Well, compile time code is bad. When compile bad code, yes. See, yeah, you're going to get an error. It's like, nope, can't do it. Wait, when does when happen? I forgot. When is when? When... I skipped over that one, kind of. There's var, let. When's compile time? Ah, okay. Hmm. Anyway, okay, so compile time if, yeah. It feels like they put a lot of macros, a lot of C macro stuff in here. Like all the, type roll counter equals array difaces in arrays or fixed length. Arrays or fixed length. Directory names equal array. Indexed by an ordinal. Array. So it looks like an array is a regular old array. An array of difaces. Roll counter is an array of difaces. Var counter, roll counter. Directions are okay. Possible truths. Possible equals false, false, false. Truths equals 40 to 44. You have to have between 42 and 44 of those specific truths. Literal arrays are created. Possible 42 equals true. Wow. Yeah. 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 You can see it. I can see it in there. I can definitely see it. I can see the C. Ha! Directions due north, due west equals go. That's not an array. It looks like they have. Wait, due north is an integer, yeah? I think it is. Due north is an int. Yeah, it's an enum. Okay. So that's not an associative array. I thought for a second it might have been. Yeah. 42. My roll equals 13. My roll plus 1. My counter. Var another array. Default index starts at 0. Excuse me. More data structures are available, including tables, sets, lists, queues. Tables, sets, lists, and queues. Interesting. It has built-in queues? That's nice. See, it's like a built-in data structure. Yeah, that's kind of cool, actually. Like pop and push queues and push. Yeah, or, I mean stacks, queues, whatever you want to call it. And crit bit trees. What? It has all these other data structures built in. Oh, I had to add those to go. I'm going to make a plug for this. RWX Rob. This is where I fell in love with generics. So if you go to rwxrob/structs on GitHub, this is my Go data structs 1.18. I added a bunch. I added types, a queue stack, which is a queue or a stack, rooted node trees, and text sets. So if you want to see how those generics made it really, really easy to implement all this stuff. That's why I did it. So that was my kind of experience there. Pop, pull, push, that kind of thing, and then rooted node trees. So if NIM comes with that stuff built in, yeah, that's great. IO and flow control. I mean, a good queue/stack is such a mandatory data structure. It really is. It's used so much for so many different things. So having it already be in the language is a great thing. I think that's a really great thing. Yeah. Case read line. Read any good books lately? Case. It has case. Of no. Of no, yeah. Hey, Pogo. Yeah, 1.18 put generics in. Yeah, go look at that. You want to, yeah, go look at you want to see generics? I mean, there's really no reason to use anything besides 1.18 unless you're forced to. Let me show you what generics allow, okay? So, here's a rooted node tree structure because you can think like of a Christmas tree or something, right? And you can make there's the tree. So you make a new tree, right? And you can pass in the type. And then the tree from that point on will be composed of those types. So, but everything else is the same. So init, node type, insert, up and down, all that stuff that you would do. Actually, that's in the tree. Wait, where is it? And it, no, oh, wait. It's in the node. Yeah, so like add to a node, you put it inject it before, to basic node type. This is the kind of thing. The reason that I wanted to do these generic data types is because they are the perfect sweet spot for generics. Because this kind of stuff before in Go was crazy dumb. You could make one, but if I wanted to have two different node trees and one was going to contain an int in the tree, it was a tree of ints, or I wanted another tree to contain an int, strings for everything, I'd have to construct an entire structure. I'd have to do this entire thing for each type. That I finally understood. I finally understood after doing this why so many people from traditional computer science want reflection. Fuck that. Bite your tongue. People did though. People did it with reflection before, and it was wicked slow. It was horrible. So this new type here, this node tree is absolutely just wonderful, and it's a perfect example of just go back and pretend you don't have generics and try to do the same thing, and make a node tree of strings and make a node tree of ints. Forget it. You can't. So when you instantiate this node tree and you instantiate it with a type, the tree itself is as if you wrote all the code for that one type. That's generics. And you can do that for data structures, linked lists, and stuff like that. So yeah, I use this in my pagan parser and in Bonsai, and my markdown parser in Bonsai, and a bunch of other stuff. So I'm really, type for not using angle brackets. Oh yeah. Yeah. There was a big controversy about why they didn't use angle brackets. They actually can't use angle brackets because angle brackets have significance in Go in terms of like actual equality. So the compiler was gonna go. They were gonna make it parentheses. Yeah. They for a while they were thinking of making it parentheses, and another time they were thinking to make it braces. And so I'm at least glad they made it brackets, because otherwise it would have got really messy. Write Python script for separate file to automate the generation of the tree for desired types. Yes. Yeah, you would. You would do the code generation, and that's what people have been doing. Yeah, they would write generators for that stuff. They would say, okay, you want all of this code. You want a node tree fully implemented for whatever. Then you would write a code generator, and that was Pike's answer for a long time to generics. He would say, well, just write a code generator. And but I look, when generics were first proposed, I thought it was going to unnecessarily complicate the language, and everybody was going to use generics without needing to use them. And I do not think that anymore. After going through this, I cannot imagine a language without generics ever again. Because it's just so much easier. A node of that type, right? It's just so much easier. It opens up so many possibilities. And to tell you the truth, I didn't fully comprehend the value of generics until I wrote the data structures and stuff, because I understood that was one of the greatest advantages of generics. I was like, people said, well, why do you need generics? I said, well, we'll try to do any data structure from the standard data structures book, and not just sorting, right? Stuff like this. And then I went to do it, and I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. And I was totally sold after that. And now you can't pry my generics out of my cold dead hands. So, anyway, back to Nim. So, I don't even know if Nim has generics. I don't know if it needs it, but we'll see. So, for strictly typed language, you kind of have to have generics. Let's just put it that way. Go has generics. Yes, it's had generics for what, 6 months now. Yes, go to that link. Go to that link. Most math libraries, yeah, Pike had to throw the water on the fire, because everybody on the core team and the code team wanted to redo all of the standard libraries with generics, like immediately. It's like, okay, can we at least let this simmer for a bit? Let's try 1.19 or 1.20 or whatever. And because seriously, everybody was going to change everything to use it. Yeah. Oh, nobody uses interface bracket anymore, or brace. I am so glad that's finally out of there. I always hated that thing. The only reason it was there in the first place was for compilation time. That was it. Like, we're going to reuse. Rob Pike is all about reusing, least amount of things in his compiler to speed it up, and reuse of the empty interface. That's all that was. He just reused some other compile time thing, and they finally allowed any to be an alias for interface, the empty interface. What is it? Nim has generics. Oh, Nim has generics too. Nice. And there's comparable. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, I could really get into this language. I can already tell you right now. Yeah. I'm going to have to write something substantial in it. Import string until it's a string. It's the alias. Some of this is ripped straight from Python. And Go? Oh, right. The math library. Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking of a number between 41 and 43, which guess which. Yeah, var guess string. I'm kind of cool with this right here. You know why? It feels a little bit like Go. Because the type is coming after the identifier, which is one of the things I really, really love about Go. I like that the identifiers are first, and you don't have to like skip over all of the like, void public exported this. Oh, there's the identifier. I hate having to like scan to get to the identifier. After the letter of the var, I want the identifier right there. And then if there's extra information about the identifier, walrus operator, but technically equals the same behavior. Huh. Yeah. Yeah. Or TypeScript. Yeah. Doesn't TypeScript do that? Yeah. Well, TypeScript and Python both did this. They added the type after there, right? I'm curious to see if you can put the equal sign. Here, let me try. Can you? Is there anything can you do this? That is like, isn't that straight up TypeScript? I don't know TypeScript. See, that's actually what I wish. I would probably do that. Does that? Yeah. So how do I compile again? I forgot. Oh, there we go. I mean, that took a while to compile, I won't lie. Yeah, that would probably be a stylistic thing, but I would be a huge fan of that. Yeah, that is almost exactly the same as Go. To do this in Go would be this. Int equals 34. That's the same thing in Go. Or in Go, you could do age equals 34, and it will imply it in Go. That's an implied operator, but having the colon that way always reminds me of Ruby and Clojure. I know. Yeah. So but this is preferred, I guess, huh? That's what they prefer. I don't know if I like that. Is implied in him. Huh. I mean, you can't do that, can you? That'd be weird. Anyway. I probably would want to do this because I can really see the identifier. But I'm not against that. I'm not against it. I could be okay with it. Yeah, so while guess does not equal 1, raw guess equals readline. See, this underscore is completely ignored as I understand it. So, like watch, if we do a equals 30 equals 42 is implied type? Oh, really? Only one consecutive is allowed? Damn. All right, well, let's see if we get that error. It's like, uh-oh, invalid token, trailing underscore. All right, how about this? Uh-oh, we only get one. They are having fun. Can you hear them? They're running up and down playing hide and seek on the stairs. I love living in an apartment complex with young kids. It's like, it makes the whole place feel so fun, especially around Christmas and, because I'm an old man, right? They're just having fun, like old school fun, just like screwing around on their scooters, making up games. They always look in here. Sometimes I'm like this. They're like, look in here. What are you doing? Because my window's right. I'm right at the bottom of the stairs. So, all right. So let's do this. We got, yeah, the good old days. It's funny too because I hate to put it this way, but because this apartment complex is kind of on the low end of the economic scale, the kids here are largely being raised like Gen X. They're like outside all the time, running up and down all over the place, and that's what we nobody watched us. We were just out doing our thing, right? Oh, that worked. See that? Yeah. So they're always inventing like games too. They have this just like there's like a power transformer that's not dangerous, I hope. And they're like they turn it into a castle and they're like playing on top of it, and it's just so funny. I know. And I always see this little girl. She's got her scooter, and she's like slugging it up and down the stairs. Like, she's gonna have really great shoulder muscles because she has to like carry it all the way up the stairs every time. She's like 9. And she's like walking down the stairs. She's so funny. So we'll revert your coding license. Yeah, I know that this. Okay, so when I saw this was the biggest turnoff of the language. Is that this is valid? Yeah, this is totally valid. When I saw this, somebody was I think talking about it as a plus, and I was like, oh my god. Yeah, when I saw this, I almost didn't want to look at the language again after this, because I thought that was such a horrible design decision. Yeah, yep, yeah. When I saw that, I mean, all of the other. So to be completely honest, when I saw that, I was so turned off by it, and I've mentioned this before on the stream that I stopped looking at anything else about the language, like literally anything. No, I'm not broken up with Go at all. I'm interested in this because Alhazard was talking about it because there's some malware and some rootkits that have been made in this because they're smaller, they have a smaller footprint, and they're more efficient, and it's faster to write the code, and the code's much simpler to write than Go. And so we're starting to see malware pop up, even though the guy who made it apparently doesn't like that. Yeah. It filters people not serious about learning language, which was me. I mean, I was Go versus Rust like 2 years ago for me. And NIM was not really, hadn't been, honestly, the thing that turned my thinking was hearing one of the best security streamers on Twitch, Alhazar, who you guys know, right? Somebody shout him out. Talking up how awesome this rootkit is that was written in NIM that produces even smaller binaries than Go. And we're talking about a security guy who's also a Go fan. That's what I'm saying, right? This language is definitely simpler than Go. There's no doubt. It is. It's simpler to write than Go. It's faster to write than Go. It has things that annoy Go programmers. I'm a huge Go fan. Of course. Yeah, did you get the name right? Let me type that in because I always forget how to type his name because he's all hackery about his name. But if that's right, I'll go ahead and pass it on. There we go. So, honest to God, I was just watching him tonight. I wasn't planning on streaming tonight at all, and he was like winding down, and he talked about this malware, and yeah, and so yeah, so I look, best tool for the job, the best tool for this job, this is the best tool for for malware. For really, really, really quickly written stuff you can write really quick, you can understand really easily, stuff that you might write Python for, that you want to be a compiled ELF binary. So I can see the security people just loving this because it's like writing Python. And the security people love Python and Perl already. Python, Perl, and C, they live in that land. And they're starting to live in the Go land. Because of the compiled binary and thing, but I think a lot of them haven't discovered NIM, and now we're starting to see NIM malware, which has realized, hey, I can do the same thing with NIM, and I get smaller binaries, which are now you're talking about binaries that are way smaller backdoors the payload's smaller. To tell you the truth, completely honestly, I was actually already thinking about the possibilities of doing this in Rust and C, and let me tell you why. So, I was talking about Go for malware a long time ago, and as I got thinking about it, I want to put, I was talking about my benevolent botnet using Bonsai and making a monolith, and I started looking at my monolith. I mean, look at the size of my Go monolith, right? So, let's see. So, which is the us-lh, which is the, and we're talking about a 14 megabyte binary. To be fair, look at all that. This has got a lot of stuff in it. Okay, it's got a lot of stuff in it. It's imported it's composed all of my other tools, and as I've said before, I'm planning on replacing all of my bash scripts with monolith imports with Bonsai branches that can be imported into my single Z monolith, and then I just push that binary to any system I ever want, and with Ansible or whatever, and then or even a backdoor, and I can just use it. But it's going to get bigger, right? That binary is going to get bigger, and Go is not known for small binaries, and that's not a stripped binary, by the way. That's you can strip the binary down, and I'd probably get probably 4 or 5 megabytes off of it, but it's still going to be really big, right? So. And when I was thinking about writing malware and monoliths, rootkits and stuff like that in Go, which I still think is a good thing, the one downside of Go is how big the binaries are, hands down. And that is exactly what Alhazard mentioned today. That's exactly what he mentioned today, is that the binaries are smaller and the code is simpler to write. And I was like, I need to at least look at this, because and the C integration I don't even want to look at something that doesn't have C integration. It goes got spectacular. You can write C in Go, right? How about cross compilation? Does NIM have cross compiler? You have a optimized for size compile option in NIM compiler. Never use it. Does NIM? I imagine it has cross compilation. Maybe not though, because it's just transpiling to C before it compiles it. That would actually be a huge negative. In terms of practicality. Yeah, let's go see if it has it. But never cross compiled yet. Can I compile for a Mac on a Linux machine and get a binary? Yeah, that would be a huge thing. Yeah, if it doesn't have cross compilation allows you to be on your Mac and write code that only runs on a BSD system or a Windows system, right? Get ceiling to cross compile. I think you probably could, yeah. The problem is it would probably be a 2-step process. I'm sure somebody's taking care of that hassle, though. I mean, if they're making malware with it, they already have, right? Yeah. I mean, to me, cross compilation is a huge thing, but I don't. It's not a. I mean, even Go. A lot of the stuff that you would do malware with, you'd have to use CGO anyway to bring in some of the C so you can bind it up. So you throw out cross compilation when you use CGO anyway. So, for this use of writing, malware rootkits, that kind of thing, bots, I don't think cross comp not having it would be a killer, because you're going to be using CGO and Go if you're going to do it anyway. Compared to how you do it in Go, unless you use CGO, computer nerd. Yeah, if you use CGO, then it is kind of a pain, right? Because you have to be on a target system to compile. You cannot compile anything with CGO dependencies for any other target besides that host system. It's one of the reasons, by the way, you should turn CGO off and Go. If you don't know better, because there are some stuff in the standard library that have CGO dependencies, and if you use them because you're watching an old tutorial or something, it'll ruin your day. I mean, it will. It'll ruin your day. Oh, my wife's home. Yeah, it'll ruin your day. You'll be like, ugh. So if you're doing any Go stuff, this is, I would say, this is pretty much a mandatory thing to add to your bash RC, because you want to turn CGO off. And then if you accidentally cut and paste some code that uses CGO from the internet that doesn't use the non-CGO alternative, anything from sys, for example, the standard sys package, you'll end up creating dependencies to Seago that you don't even know about until you try to cross compile, and then you'll be mad. So, yeah, right. A government that has a GUI such a pain to cross compile. Yeah, because of all the Seago. Is it using KDE or something? I mean, what bindings are you using? Computer. There's a bunch of graphic library binaries. Like, do you know about all the pure Go graphic interfaces that do not have Seago dependency? Like, can't target Mac. Set up on Linux. Yeah, you can do that. The reason for turning this off is so that when you, by default, if you try to compile and you use a Seago thing, it'll tell you, I'm sorry, I can't compile, you're using a Seago thing. If you don't have this, then this is Go, right? So we're not talking NIM right now, but if you don't have this, when you compile, you'll end up creating Seago dependencies unnecessarily. Let me give you an example. So go doc sys. So this entire runtime internal system package is built for, it's low level C compatibility, right? And if you use it, I'm almost positive that it has a Seago dependencies built in. So, in fact, I could probably test it. I don't remember. Let me see. Golang sys Seago dependency. But if you're a hacker and you're a malware author, then the sys module, the Go module that was introduced in Go 1.11 is the official dependency management solution for tool. I just realized I don't think that's the one. Yeah, there we go. Command Seago dependencies. Cross compile Go with Seago dependencies using Zig. That's a different thing. Oh, fine. That's the one I was talking about. If you're looking for a graphic library that's completely independent, look at Fine. Fyne. Fine is 100% window world, widget library that is cross compatible. Yeah. Cross compiling, I think. It should be a month ago. You gave up? Was it that bad? Was it bad? It's still new. I'm super interested to hear how that goes. Yeah. I mean, it's not GNOME or KDE or Qt or whatever. Or GTK. I mean, I don't even think you can use... does it? It doesn't look good either. I mean, it's okay, but... What did you end up going with? You know what you could do? You could do the Electron thing and use the embedded file system and then make everything a web app. That's what I want to do. Anytime I have anything that's graphic, I'm going to make a dependency on Windows. On a... So you can have... No, it's not Electron. No, it's not. What you can do, you can put your entire web app, all the resources for your web app, and write your entire app using WebTech. And all you have to do... And you can even open the browser from the binary. And you can open the browser and you can have the app just depend on having a web browser. NIM is the most surprising? Why? Because I'm such a dogmatic asshole? I'm not that bad, am I? Sup, BMT is awesome. With Zenity instead? I haven't seen Zenity. Of Half-Box. Yeah. VMT knows what's up. I know. So I have VMT, somebody who actually knows C, who helped us through our C learning every Christmas. And I promised I was going to do Haskell this Christmas, but that promise is off. I'm doing C and NIM this Christmas. I need to do C every year. This is what I've found out. I need to do C every year to refresh my knowledge of it because I don't code it every day. So this Christmas is C again. Probably NIM plus C. Yeah. What'd be fun is to, well, anyway. VMT, what do you think of NIM? Are you? I mean, it generates C after, so I'm thinking you're a friend of it. It's on a solid basis economically. Yeah, I do too. I have no idea. I have no idea. It's completely free and open source, so it doesn't have a corporate backer as far as I know. Well, we don't know the history of the language. That's why I'm looking at. How are you doing, Dialect Code? I'm really good. My wife just came home. We are just about done with looking just this really quick initial look at NIM. Just to recap, the reason I'm looking at NIM, she's got her sweater on. Come here, sweater girl. Come here, sweater girl. You like your sweater, don't you? She just wants to show her sweater off. All right, come here. You want to come up here?
It's easier for Dad to play with you when you have a sweater on. That's clean.
I'm sorry. That was loud. I know.
What do you need help with?
I need help.
Oh my God, it's hot as fuck in here. Oh, I hope that wasn't a PG.
Is fuck hot, Doris?
Yeah, it's hot as fuck when you're doing it right.
She likes her sweater. She's like, Mom, can we go now? Can I go now? Okay, fine. She's making hamburgers. My wife is making hamburgers. All right, so let's get through NIM here. She's, what? Are you bummed out? She's like getting all emo. Why is she so emo all of a sudden? She's like, I want to go outside and play with those kids. When does Sunday drinking start? After the hamburger, so I don't get totally toasted. Go and found gin. Go and gin is pretty cool, huh? I am a fan of gin, I won't lie. But we're talking about NIM right now. Yeah, I did a video on gin recently. How to test gin by mock-up HTTP requests, which is the kind of thing that makes me like Go, right? Imagine NIM has some of that stuff we don't know. What about Echo? I've heard about Echo. They're too new. They're not mature enough for me. Gin, none of them have generators built in the OpenAPI project. So, and we're a big OpenAPI fan. If you're doing any REST APIs, you should be using OpenAPI. And if you're not using OpenAPI, if you're using OpenAPI, then your only options are Mux and Gin. Those are the only generators, unless you want to commit an entire generator to the project that you have to write in Java. So, which is why there aren't any other ones, because Go people are so disgusted with Java they won't do it. So sometimes, a mature technology is the better pick, even though it's maybe not as cool as the new one, in my opinion. Echo looks really cool. There's another one too out there that looks pretty good too. And I'm usually a net HTTP guy, but Gin is really got me going. Yeah. Anyway, so we got regular this other stuff I would expect to be there. So I think the rest of this is pretty standard. It's got a switch statement, otherwise named case. This is like straight. If it ends it with an ESAC, then that would be like modulo. But no. I love Gin. Yeah, at this point I would strongly recommend it. I'm a huge Gin fan. As of we've been writing our A. Yeah. I am. I'm always leery of the reason I like Gin is it doesn't do too much. It's called a micro framework for a reason, right? It mainly does routing. Boom, that's it. It doesn't do all the extra crap that and it's not slow like Gorilla Mux and a bunch of other. We're talking about Go over there for a second. I'm sorry, I'm kind of all over the place. At some point I thought you were talking about the drink. Gin, the drink. I mean, that too. I don't have any right now. Axum is slow. I haven't used Axum. Doesn't Gochi have OpenAPI generator stuff? No. If it does, I want to know immediately. We're supposed to be talking about NIM. Why are we talking about this? Go Gochi. Lightweight, idiomatic composable. 699 commits. It's got a cool logo. HTTP services, REST API. Oh, it's built on the new context package in 1.7. I already don't like it. The context package that was added to Go was inspired by Gin. Gin goes back to Go 1.7 or 8 or something. And the context, Gin contexts are way better than Go contexts. I hate Go contexts. I think it's the worst thing they've added to the language so far. I know they need it. They had to have something, but the way they did it, the way they implemented it, the way they forced it on everybody, and the way they don't allow it to be extended or anything is my biggest complaint about the entire language right now. I just test that. In fact, I even opened a ticket on stream against context.context, which is stuttering. It's against their own style guidelines, and suggested that you context.C or something. And they're like, no, we're not having it. Was it interface not? I know. There's just so many things they did wrong with that. And the problem is it's now codified into everything. Everything has to use it. And so it's basically, it's just taken and it's just polluted the entire standard library with stuff, you know? And honestly, I got to tell you, when I started using Gin and it had a context and it didn't use it, I was like, yeah, I'm on board with that. I'm on board with that. It uses its own context, and it's like, screw the rest. And it has all the stuff about, you know, canceling and all the stuff you need to have if you're going to have, like, multiple layers of depth in a middleware. And Gin pretty much started that stuff. I think you could probably argue that Gin strongly influenced the use of context in its adoption in Go 1.7. So if they're making a big deal about using the other context, the only reason I would go for that is if they can prove to me that it's more performant than Gin. But when you're talking about a REST API, your performance is relative because you already have latency over the network and stuff. Quite small. Yeah. I write middleware that makes the context not a hassle. Yeah. I don't write a lot of middleware. We're just writing this REST API. I don't see the generator though. Oh, GraphQL. Yeah, you probably can, but I wouldn't. I don't use GraphQL for anything anymore. I've deeply fallen out of love with GraphQL. I used to love it, and I have seen GraphQL abused so much. You might not like REST APIs, but they are the standard. It's funny because there's a lot of people going through this. I've heard this on the stream several times from other people. They're like, there's one guy who was a Twitter person. He was complaining about GraphQL forcing him to basically make a database interface. And expect upcoming. We're going to be doing a little bit outdoors. Yeah, IBMT. I do an outdoor stream about once a week. This week I didn't do one, but we're definitely going to be doing more outdoors. Yeah, I've been doing more indoors lately. But what do I mean GraphQL being abused? I mean the whole value proposition of GraphQL is making one request because you're going to get everything and you're going to have the filtering happen. Well, that filtering has to be implemented. If you're going to implement a GraphQL backend, you have to implement this is the biggest complaint. If you're going to actually implement a GraphQL backend without using some existing framework or something, you've got to write the code that takes all of that stuff together and then translates that into a complex database query. So it actually really, really makes the middleware programmer's job harder to implement GraphQL APIs. It's a lot harder. And I don't do that every day, but it's funny because I was kind of thinking that myself and how hard it is to consume a GraphQL API versus a REST API. Okay, so you have to make multiple requests instead of, the one request, but is being able to make a single request really worth it? I mean, what are you saving? You're saving a little bit of latency because you had to make several requests, but it's all concurrent requests anyways these days. So it's not harder to implement GraphQL APIs. Yep. REST API, there is a lot of GraphQL out there, but I'm just telling you the stuff that matters is still using REST first. They put GraphQL to simplify it, but it had a lot of latency to the one request that they ended up with. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not dissing on GraphQL. I still think the concept of it is relatively sound. I think that the benefit the value proposition of GraphQL does not outweigh the hassle of implementing GraphQL. That's what I'm discovering, and that's why Kubernetes doesn't use it. That's why OpenAPI doesn't use it. And really, OpenAPI with the generators and stuff has really become at least the enterprise standard for microservices. RESTful APIs, and I can't believe I'm saying this because you could ask me this a year and a half ago. I would have told you that GraphQL was going to overtake it and everything. But what we're seeing now is people are backpedaling off GraphQL. And they're like, what am I getting for it? I'm implementing my own domain query language. Who cares? I could have just implemented a bunch of endpoints with operations, and it simplifies the overall architecture, and they can add and remove endpoints as they want to without changing the core, GraphQL handler. And that, you're talking about managing a single, with RESTful APIs, you can, if you want to, you can break out every endpoint into a separate piece of code. With GraphQL, you cannot do that. With GraphQL, you have their middleware has to implement the entire thing all in one thing, right? You can't have, and so from the code base perspective, RESTful APIs give you a lot more flexibility in the implementation, and I didn't get this before I started getting into this. Name one. What name one besides the regular one that we know about? You can split GQ out as much as you want. No, you can't. No, you can't. Not if you're going to use the stuff that GraphQL tells you that you want, right? Because GraphQL, the thing that they tell you that you want is you want to make one query instead of 10. Am I getting it wrong? But isn't that the one thing that GraphQL promises the world? You're going to reduce latency and it's going to simplify your life because you're going to make one query instead of like 10. Use gRPC with Gin? No, I have not. No, but that makes sense though. Because then you could use gRPC internal queries to your internal microservices and stick them in a Gin front end. Yeah, I would think that would be possible. I haven't done it yet. I haven't done it. Maybe I will write that. I don't know. Enterprise with dozens and dozens of microservices. Yeah, but okay. Well, then tell me how that's different than a REST API. Tell me how is the GraphQL API going to? What are you getting for it? That's what I want to know. What are you getting for the GraphQL API over a REST API? I know you're typing and it's hard, but that's the one thing that I am not convinced of anymore. Schema stitching. Is good for the client app. Federation, well, I don't know if I agree with that one. How come you can do that with REST? Look, I am a huge GraphQL fan too, and GitHub has really convinced me that GraphQL is worth looking at, but I just don't know if what you're getting out of it is worth the hassle. That's the bottom line. I'm not convinced. It's also not the main thing that I do all the time. We have dozens of microservices that expose their own GraphQL API. We have a single gateway that stitches them all into a single API. Yeah. Okay. Can you auto-generate all of that code and stuff and the documentation and everything like you can with OpenAPI? If it's so good, why didn't Kubernetes use it? How? Because our GraphQL by default is autogen? From what? Looking at your database schema? From your databases, yeah? Yeah. I could see that. So if you're talking about, yeah, but if you're talking about, if you're talking about schema generation that's just tying into your databases, yeah. GraphQL was made public in 2015. It might have been. Huh. I don't know. We'll have to look at it. I'm not writing it off. I don't see. There was a time, just Metalstorm, to be fair, that we were supposed to be talking about NIM here, but there was a time when I seriously thought REST was going to die. I thought, oh man, that's old school. No one's going to do that. That's way too wasteful. Blah, blah, blah. You can't do schema validation and selection and all that stuff that you're talking about. And I did. I tried it. I consumed several GraphQL APIs. GitHub is the main one. And then I started getting into development, and I started working with our API team and others, and I was just looking at all the practical differences between the two. Use GraphQL with REST for server-side app. Yeah, yeah, yep. I think GraphQL would probably do better if you already have schemas established. XML RPC registry hashes. Yeah. I personally, I think gRPC is going to be enabled in the browser eventually, and when that happens, this whole thing's over. It'll all be protobuf, and nobody will do anything else. That day will come, particularly with the WebAssembly stuff. Yeah, we're still a long ways from that. GraphQL file up and download also smells. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want anybody to feel attacked here. I'm just talking, you know. Is it Argosy already use URC over the HTTP web interface? I think they do, yeah. But it's, you know, it assumes that you've got support for it. Good for big apps.
It's like ginger.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, isn't it? It's going to be interesting to see. Is typed by default. Right, but I think the typing could be a problem, actually. You can pick and choose what fields you want as a client. Say they're a real expensive field. Your client doesn't care about it, and you want to save request items. You can just not ask for the server. Will just not resolve it. Going to database. Yep. Yep.
You want to try this?
What are we doing?
It's holiday cheer kombucha.
Holiday cheer kombucha.
It's really interesting.
Can I put vodka in it? Oh God.
Like
That's
it?
yeah.
Here.
It did.
All three of us are splitting the bottle. It's good, right?
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like it has that cozy
It's
feel
good.
of holiday. But
Vodka.
it's kombucha.
Apparently, vodka and kombucha don't go together.
I don't think they would.
Maybe moonshine does. I mean, it looks like moonshine. Health aid kombucha. I feel like an old man drinking his medicine.
Yeah, but you're my old man.
I am your old man. God damn it. I'll stay.
You know
Come.
how I know the weather changed?
How'd you know the weather changed, dear?
Because I was compelled to buy beef for a pot roast.
You bought beef for a pot roast.
Yeah. And I'm thinking about soups like that. Remember, like 3 weeks ago, I was like, I'm not fucking cooking.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, maybe I'll just stay home tomorrow and cook instead of going to the studio.
You're gonna stay home and cook instead
No,
of
I'm
do
not,
your
but
art.
But it's like I'm planning like when's the day I can cook
Yeah.
this week, where I just like because I want to cook.
Yeah.
So that's
How to cross compile Python and Zig.
And I know you hate these because you can't see.
Hate what? What do I hate?
I used to have them because they were a thing in Chinatown.
My
and
wife
I
is
have them all
talking.
these.
So
Oh,
what?
I'm totally disrupting your.
QRPC real quick. It's fine. It's just going on YouTube. Just so you know, all this is going on YouTube.
Fine, I don't
Oh, I
care.
thought you were handing me something. What the hell is that?
They're metal food containers.
Oh.
But you don't like them. I've had them
No,
before
this
'cause you're
is-
like I can't see what's in it.
Yeah, this is my wife's love language. She has so many kitchen things.
I like them better than plastic.
You just like them because it has the green top.
And I don't break them.
You like the top
I also
color.
got blue tops.
Okay. Yeah.
They should have.
All right.
Ideally, they have metal tops too. But
All right.
I'm gonna settle for this.
Yes. Hey, Copil.
Look,
All right. We were playing around with Nim here, and then we got distracted and lots of rabbit holes. But that's normal. GoDaddy package doesn't have quick HTTP thread. Nope, it doesn't, and that it needs to. I've been relatively good actually. We've just been playing around with Nim, and so far I'm a huge fan of Nim. I'm thinking about writing a bonsai port just to see how hard it would be. Excuse me, kombucha burp. For I LM in yes, no, maybe so. Echo. For various items. Oh, hey, thanks for the follow. Dat Bajan dude. Wanna learn Nim? Wanna learn Nim? I lived in Barbados for a year. What? What? I don't know what you're talking about. Talking about. I can't do it anymore. If you guys ever go to Barbados, I landed in Barbados and I could not perish. Christchurch. Yeah, I lived in Christchurch forever. It feels like. Yeah. Oh, I loved it there, man. Are they burning cane right now? When are they going to start burning cane again? I mean, we're talking about tech here, but we got somebody from my favorite island in. No, Barbados. You guys know Barbados? It's an island. Did you guys survive a hurricane? How'd you do? Oh my god. I mean, the hurricane was there when we were there. Fun fact: Do they? Is Chefat still there? Do they still have Chefat rotis? Rotis, man. Oh, Chefat rotis were awesome. They ain't burning cane. When is that? It comes in. If you ever get to go to Barbados, you should go when they're like harvesting cane and they're burning cane fields. It's like a scene out of like Lord of the Rings. They still have Chefette. I knew the owner actually at the time. I don't know if he's still there. Yeah, we used to have dinner with him all the time. I went there. I was a Mormon. I was a Mormon. I was a Mormon. I was a Mormon. I'm not anymore. I was a Mormon back then. I was a Mormon missionary when I was there, but I'm not anymore. Yeah, not Mormon anymore. It's Sunday, so we're supposed to be doing YouTube things. We're talking about NIM, and people, you just got to have the internet and turn your power back on. Hurricanes. That's oh my god, it was. And what? You look out the window of Chefat, you can see the beach. If you ever get to go to Barbados, so Barbados has, according to the Scuba Dive Federation, International Federation, the Barbados ocean waters are the clearest in the world, except for, I think, was like the Australian archipelago. So they have scuba diving, international scuba diving conventions in Barbados like every year. It's like one of the number one picks because the water is so crystal clear and clean because it's outside of the other Lesser Antilles. It's like away from the other islands and stuff. Max Sin is also added to the stream. It's true, isn't it? Isn't that great? I didn't get to go swimming because I was a missionary. We baptized out in that wonderful water. I gotta save my money up so I can go back. I want to go back and not be Mormon so I can party and eat. A top server still go to the Bathsheba. Oh, we drove past Bathsheba. We would drive past it in the car. We would drive around the whole island. God, the swells out there are amazing. It is crystal clear. Oh yeah. The thing. Okay, so you come in on Fiat Airlines, right? He'll know. No, Liat, not Fiat. Liat. Fiat is a car. So you come in. So Liat Airlines will be like landing on the island, and yeah, I know it's Liat. I'm sorry. Yeah, you'll be like landing, and you will look down and you'll see the boats on the water, and you can see the shadow of the boat on the ocean floor, as if it's hanging in the air because it's so transparent. It's just crazy amazing. It's if you've never, I mean, I will never forget it. I will never forget that experience. I would just, because I would be like, Fiat Airlines. It's the only flag I've seen. And it's Liat, right? They made up an acronym for it too. It's like, because the airlines that I flew on, I'm so lucky to be alive. They're so crazy. Yeah, I was actually on Martinique for most of it though, so I learned French, Caribbean Creole. But the LDS mission headquarters for the French West Indies mission for the West Indies is on Barbados. So the Mormon mission president lives on Barbados. Yeah, he's in charge. Whoever that president is in charge of Trinidad and Tobago and Martinique, Guadeloupe, Antigua, Saint Martin, 500 ultralight. That's a different thing. Yeah. Drinking gin when driving that fish up. Some Virgin Islands, yes. Yes. That's ultralight, yeah. We're supposed to be looking at NIM. Yeah, there are lots of Mormons over this. Yeah, they are. Yeah, and they're good people too, man. I miss them so bad. You have no idea. Some of those people were like lifelong friends. I haven't talked to them forever. Yeah. You like slam your dominoes? Are you a domino slammer? These are all Bayesian culture things. I'm like having. This is so great that I have a Bayesian in the chat. You have no idea how awesome this is. I fucking love it. Of course you do. We used to play dominoes with them all the time. We go play dominoes with the old guys. Oh, you haven't lived until you've played a game of dominoes with a Bayesian. Like, it's just so fun. The rum shops? Oh, yeah. Everybody's like half drunk. Yeah, we couldn't go there all the time, but yeah. I miss it. I miss it so bad. Now I'm going to have to go visit. You have to stay around here so I can like get the deets on the details on Barbados. Yeah, I have to practice my patois. Yeah. They don't say you. They say wanna. So like when you say the first time I landed on Barbados, I could not understand anything. And they didn't tell it. They told me it wasn't a foreign mission. And I was like, I have no idea what anybody is saying. And it goes back to slave days. I hate to say it, but it does. They talk fast and they deliberately use a patois that, frankly, the slave owners back then, I mean, you can understand the Caribbean is completely influenced by the whole slave trade. I mean, that stuff has been really, really, I mean, it's been really, really visceral. It's like, but it's Bayesian, right? But the point is that it's like, we talk Bayesian, yeah. But, I mean, it's a touchy historical point, but it's an extremely lovely place, yeah. But in the Caribbean Creole and Martinique is the same thing. A lot of the languages were invented, and they were the local patois, and it was deliberately so they could create a language that the owners didn't understand. And so you land. I had no idea what they were saying. Yeah, Barbados became a fully sovereign republic in November 2021. Yes, it did. Yeah, it finally did. I did not shake her hand, but I was handshaking distance from the Queen. She landed and we stood in the line at the airport and there was like hundreds of people there, and she walked right past me. So like 3 feet away from me, because it was, a UK kind of thing. Yeah. I remember buying a car. If you wanted to buy a car in Barbados, you had to pay twice the money because of the taxes. They have like an import tax, like literally twice the cost. So anybody who owns a car there has paid double the cost of that car, and some of those cars are nice. Yeah, because they have to. It's the only way to make money. I mean, it's crazy, an amazing economy, because they have. I mean, obviously they have exports, but rip the Queen. Yeah. They have to make money, but there's only so much rum you can sell, right? Rum and tourism. It's local sales tax as well. The local sales tax? That's, I think so. Yeah, it's slower than usual. The imports are 100%. Yeah, 100% tax. Yeah. Tax cars through the roof. Yeah. I remember St. Martin had duty free, and everybody, they did it on purpose because they wanted to promote buying stuff from that country, and then they would do duty free, and they'd make crazy money that way. The Caribbean islands have all kinds of economic tricks to make money, because otherwise they can't stand alone. They would just die. There's no way they would ever have money. It's because tourism is just a part of it. Every company in China, oh yeah, spend their business automatically loses a majority of control. I've heard about that. Isn't that crazy? St. Martin's Dutch, half of St. Martin's Dutch, and half of it's French. It's crazy amazing too. There's like literally like a sign, and you go on one side and everything's in French, and you go on the other side and everything is in Dutch. It's actually English speaking. The Dutch side is English speaking. So, yeah, we had missionaries in the English side and on the French side. Yeah, it's interesting that that island has always been split between the French and the Dutch, like forever, since they came there. Super interesting. You guys are getting me all reminiscent. I should probably not put all of this in the YouTube video, but it needs 4 signs instead of just 2. Yeah, yeah. I just remember I bought a Sony Walkman with 0 tax while I was there. Every time we would go to St. Martin, we would always buy high-end electronics or something because they were so cheap. What is NIM? NIM is a language that we've been kind of just going through. We're almost about done with it. I'm essentially done. My wife's cooking hamburgers, so I'm about done here. Type answer equals enum. Yes. Proc. This is cool. Somebody said there's a proc and there's func. I think proc is interesting because, as I've said before, they're not functions, they're procedures, right? You're going to do certain things. Do they have actual functions that return values? This is something interesting. A functional, I tend to fall on the side of functional, yes. I really, really, really want to learn Erlang and get better with Haskell. Yeah. I do like that they're using proc, though. That's been an annoyance to me. I hate it when everybody calls everything a function, because it's not. It's not a function. It's got side effects and stuff. Then they have to say true function, which is, lame. They have func in the manual. If they have func and proc, then that's like straight up from Pascal. I love this language. I'm just gonna say it. I love it. They have func, proc, and method. And so far, I'm in love with this language. Now, it's just the syntax was all we looked at so far. The syntax, the runtime variable, scoping, if you want it. The indentation is annoying, but port to C language. What's the other one, so that you can say another? I mean, I would rather write this in C. No doubt about it. NIM was around before Zig. Isn't Zig another port to C language? You can port this to JavaScript too. Yeah. So proc add sugar. This does have a little CoffeeScript in it. It does not really. It's weird because it feels like. Yeah, I like it. I'm just gonna say it. I do. I like it. Yeah. Port to C is probably just for compatibility for use of Dutch. It can't be better than Python. Sure it can. Carbon is late to the game, man. Have you seen Carbon? I'm not a Carbon fan at all. Create a cluster. Oh, are you really? Good. We're gonna do some more of that. I'm actually building my cluster out every day. If you want to build your own physical cluster, you should buy some used Dell Optiplex for $100 each instead of the Raspberry Pis, because you can't get those. That's just one quick tip there. But you really don't need to see with NIM at all. Yeah. Compiled NIM is better than Python. Not better than Zig, just equal. Yeah, but Zig's syntax is ugly. I do not like Zig syntax. Zig tries to be Rust. Yeah. And I like that this is more trying to be Python, but not really. I just we're evaluating just initial impressions, and I am not a super huge fan of white space significant languages, but this isn't horrible. I would probably write this more than Python, even though Python, obviously you got to learn Python these days, right? For machine learning and stuff. But would I want to write this instead of C? Yeah, I would. Too expensive here. Secondhand abacus in my cluster. I feel a lot of people have been saying that about it, the electricity across the ocean there. Yeah, I'm not a huge Python fan. I was for years. I can smell the burgers. They're definitely there. Would I recommend versus that? Okay, so let me just think about YouTubers. YouTubers, that's enough of them. I pretty much ended an hour ago, but thank you for being here. So.